Thank you very much. May I request the students to please take your seats? With your permission, shall I start? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each one of you present here for the valedictory session of this prestigious conference. It has been an enriching journey of knowledge sharing, thought-provoking discussions, and groundbreaking insights. I welcome, on behalf of Amity School of Hospitality and Amity Institute of Travel and Tourism, our honorable guest of honor, Dr. Suman Billa, Maharaja of Rewa Pushparat Singh Ji, our honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, and our honorable Additional Pro Vice Chancellor Sir also. I welcome you all on behalf of Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism. Now, to extend the formal welcome, I would like to invite Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, to come forward and extend formal welcome to Dr. Suman Billa, our guest of honor. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A planted symbolizes sustainability and green future, and shawl extends warmth. May I request Professor Dr. Sanjeev Bansal, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to come forward and extend formal welcome to Shri Pushparat Singh Ji, Maharaja of Rewa. Put your hands together, everyone. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for your esteemed presence. Now, may I request Professor Dr. Manohar Sajnani, Dean, Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism, Director, Institute of Travel and Tourism, to extend formal welcome to our very own Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Now, may I request Professor Dr. Pranshu Chomple, the HOI of Amity School of Hospitality, to extend formal welcome to Professor Dr. Sanjeev Bansal, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University. Heartfelt thank you to each one of you. Now, may I invite Professor Dr. Pranshu Chomple, the HOI of Amity School of Hospitality and the Organizing Secretary of the conference, to formally welcome our esteemed guests. Sir, over to you.
On behalf of Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism, I, Dr. Professor Pranshu Chomple, would like to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Honorable Dean Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, and Mr. Suman Birla Ji and Maharaja of Rewa Ji on this concluding ceremony. When we talk about the concluding, usually it is the end of the conference or the ceremony. But I would like to say that this is not the end. Rather, this is the beginning of an era. A 3-day conference has given so many things to all of us. So many knowledge has been flown, so many research papers, the researcher, academician, industry professional, or from all around the world. A truly international conference which has given a milestone to the tourism industry. More than 100 research papers have been studied. The research paper, those have been filtered on a 3-tier system. So many knowledge has been flowed, enlightening all of us with their knowledge. I can assure my dear student that this conference have given us so much knowledge to all of us that it will be a historical day in all of our lives. This conference doesn't have only the research paper, but also some more other features which are giving a knowledge, like the panel discussion, the MOUs, the expo. So it is a knowledge in all the way. So I would like to thank the organizing committee, Honorable Founder President Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Honorable Chancellor Sir, for giving us a platform to enlightening all of us with the knowledge of tourism. Thank you.
Put your hands together for extending thanks to the conference convener, Professor Pranshul Chomple. Thank you, sir. Moving forward, this conference has been a platform for great deliberations, and it's a time to reflect on the key takeaways. I now invite Professor Dr. Manohar Sajnani, Dean Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism and the Director of Amity Institute of Travel and Tourism, to present conference outcome report. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Since yesterday morning, I have been a common face. I have been interacting, talking to you all, and probably now quite well known. Now, the report which I am going to present will be very crisp, very brief, because we have amidst us Dr. Suman Billaji. When it comes to practice, tourism in practice, there is no one better than him. And the theme of our conference is bridging the gaps in tourism knowledge and practice. So we thought Dr. Suman Billaji is the right person. He is the ambassador. So quickly I'll present my report. Though the report is of 8 pages, but I'll try to finish in 3 minutes so that I can give more time to Dr. Billa to present his views. We started the day yesterday with our keynote speaker, Dr. Mariana Sigala, Professor Mariana Sigala. She's here with us. A wonderful scholar, and her keynote address well reflected her scholastic work. She spoke about the importance of regenerative tourism and wine tourism, and through videos and through local presentations, she has demonstrated that. And through her presentation, she stated that regenerative tourism is a concept that goes beyond simply sustaining the environment and local communities. It aims to actively restore and revitalize them, leaving them in a better state than before. She also explained that tourism is increasingly, and by 2024-25, we will see 75% of engaging local people in regenerative tourism. Followed by welcome address by our Honorable Vice Chancellor Madam, the architect of this conference. Right from the stage when we started preparing the bid till today, when we are sitting in the valedictory session, she has been the source, the driver, the main driver of this initiative. Followed by introduction of the conference by me. Quickly I introduce the conference, the concept, followed by the address by Professor S.P. Bansal, Vice Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh Central University and Vice Chancellor, Himachal University. Professor Bansal actually has shown his academic approach, and through his academic approach he has demonstrated how this existing gap between academic and practice, what we teach in the classroom and what actually is required by the industry, how can we bridge this gap? Very experienced academician, on many platforms. He is the governing board along with our Honorable VC ma'am also on many platforms. Then came the most mesmerizing address by our Honorable Minister for Tourism and Culture, Sri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji, who spent almost 2 hours with us, sir. He was with us for 2 hours. And he was so, immersed in the university culture. He said, I feel like being here for a little longer. He wanted to go to our school also to interact with our students. His secretary spoke to the school principal that I am coming to the school. But then he had an appointment. We had a meeting at Bharat Mandapam, and it was almost very late at Amity University campus, so he had to forego that visit to school. But that shows his love for university, that shows his love for our foundation, that shows his love for our Honorable Founder President, sir. In his address, he actually brought out the true picture of Indian tourism, both inbound and outbound. He also emphasized how India can actually contribute to the global tourism. And when we say we will become superpower by 2030 and we become economic power by 2030 and we became the third economy in the world by achieving twofold growth year upon year, we will contribute through tourism 10% to our GDP. And he mentioned that when we say 10% of GDP, how many jobs will be created directly and indirectly. Honorable Minister also mentioned about the efforts of the Ministry of Tourism, how the nature of product is being changed, how we are trying to make India a destination for all seasons. He also emphasized the efforts of our Honorable Prime Minister, his focus on tourism, his love for tourism. He also mentioned that during his first address from the portals of our historical building, Red Fort, how he opened his remark, he opened his address through his example of Gujarat tourism, the most vibrant Gujarat. Sir, let me tell you, for this address that he delivered for good around 35 minutes, there was pin drop silence in the auditorium, full of our students, industry experts, senior leaders from the industry. Sir, yesterday we had the industry iconic award ceremony also, wherein we honored the association presidents. They all were there, and there was pin drop silence. Everybody applauded. I mean, tourism is, I think, in his DNA, in his blood. I recall the Jodhpur airport, how it came up when he was the member of parliament at Jodhpur. Followed by the address of the minister, Honorable Minister, sir, the President itself, very passionate about tourism, Indian tourism particularly, Professor Shania. She spoke about Indian tourism, sociology of Indian tourism, how Indian tourism has changed over the years, over the ages. Then came the address by our Honorable Founder President, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, the man who is the driving force, the man who brought this revolution called amity in India. And today what we see, a group with 35 campuses, 15 countries, with more than 200,000 students, and in a span of just 20 years. That's why we call it a revolution. His words, every word, is full of commitment, passion, nation building. We concluded our inaugural session with his blessing. He showered his blessings on each one of us. Then started the technical sessions. Sir, we had 13 parallel sessions, 6 gallery sessions. Each parallel session had 6 to 7 papers discussing on the key theme words of sustainable development, regenerative tourism, digital ecosystem and green investment. The presenters were not only present physically from different universities. If I count those universities, there were 57 universities from across the country, including IIM Sirmaur, IIM Bodh Gaya, IIM Shillong, IIM Lucknow. We also had the scholars coming in from NITHM, from IITTM, from all leading institutions. This conference, just before me, my colleague Professor Chomple was mentioning, it has come up very well. And it is not just a self-praise, but we came out with the book of abstract. I would like to present you. This book of abstract speaks the volume. Dr. Omar Valde, Executive Director, United Nations Tourism, sir, he is with us, he is sitting here with us, Dr. Omar. He presented a very, meaningful contribution of Amity to the quality of the programs, being the only one in the country since 2013. And then how and what benefit does it bring? I think I have taken more time than allotted to me presenting the report. But sir, this is just the beginning. And with the support of Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, as we have received support for this conference also, and we promise you that we will bring more results, and we are trying to produce a paper out of this as desired by Honorable Minister sir also as an outcome, and we'll present it to you, sir. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for encapsulating the insights and learning so eloquently. Now, I have the honor of inviting Professor Dr. Sanjeev Bansal, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor of Amity University, to share his pulse of wisdom. Sir is not an administrator only, but a mentor, a visionary who sees beyond the present. Sir, it's like
Thank you so very much. Good evening, one and all present here. Honorable Dr. Suman Billa ji, Maharaja of Rewa Shri Pushparaj Singh ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am, all the esteemed guests from various countries and states of India, all my worthy colleagues on and off the dais, and above all the beneficiary of this world-class event, all these wonderful students of Amity School of Hospitality and Amity Institution of Travel and Tourism. A big clap for all of you. Friends, in the world, there are two types of people. One who know that they do not know, and one who do not know that they do not know. दुनिया में दो तरह के लोग होते हैं, एक जो जानते हैं कि वो कुछ नहीं जानते, और एक जो नहीं जानते कि वो कुछ नहीं जानते. I am from the first category. I know I do not know. I had limited knowledge about tourism. I had limited knowledge about this sector. And the only knowledge about this sector was limited to people like Hun Sang, Ibn Battuta, Marco Polo, and maybe Columbus, and if you take Vasco da Gama also. But those were the different times. Those were the difficult times and different times also. And those people were traveling around basically because of their inquisitive nature and just to know about the culture of others. We heard about Lord Buddha, Lord Mahavir, we heard about Guru Nanak Dev, we heard about Swami Vivekananda. They wandered around the world for a different search. Their search was different. They were looking for something else. But now paradigms of travel and tourism are changed. It is not limited to few, but for all. This 2020 and 2021 were difficult years, especially for the sector. But after 2022, it is totally now changed. It has regained, and new phase of tourism has now emerged. Religious tourism is a big add-on, and there is no surprise that Mahakumbh 2025 has expected revenue of 2 lakh crore with expected footfall of 45 crore people of the world. It is mind-boggling, but no surprise that yesterday in the inaugural function, when Honorable Union Minister of Tourism and Minister of Culture, Vijender Singh Ji, commented that this sector is going to contribute to 10% of the national economy. It's a big number. And if a sector is contributing 10% of the national economy, I think no power in this world can stop such a sector being the top priority of the world. I'm sure that ITSA and Amity Regional Conference on Asia will prove to be a milestone in bringing new ideas and meaningful outcomes. Congratulations, Dr. Sajnani, and all the members of ITSA and Amity. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Today we have the privilege of welcoming a distinguished personality, a leader in the hospitality, and a custodian of India's rich cultural heritage. It's our immense honor to host Shri Pushprak Singh Ji, Maharaja of Rewa and Chairman of HRH Group of Hotels. His contributions to the tourism and hospitality industry have been truly remarkable and preserving traditions while embracing modern excellence. Shri Pushprak Singh Ji, your dedication to the hospitality in the sector and cultural preservation serves as an inspiration to all of us. We are truly grateful for your presence here today. Once again, let's put our hands together to express our sincere gratitude to Shri Pushprak Singh Ji for gracing this occasion. Welcome, sir.
Ekam Satya Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. I'll elaborate on this after I address the dais. Honorable Billa Sahab, Honorable Ma'am, Shejwani ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Pranshu Sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen from overseas and from the country, and very friendly and very encouraging and very loving students. When I said Ekam Satya Vipra Bahuda Vedanti, I meant that the truth is one. It can be explained in multiple dimensions. And I'm hinting at from where the legacy was left by the Honorable Minister yesterday. That was Mahakumbh. His baseline was Mahakumbh. And literally speaking, so you provoked me to talk about this. I had prepared something else. But believe you me, I'm revealing a small little secret. All such huge changes or all such huge works, as it was said, Rome was not built in a day, are not built in a day. I was a part of that team which did the planning of Kumbh, which was Ardh Mahakumbh. That means almost 6 years before. And the first outline sketch of what we would do in the Mahakumbh was drawn during the time of Ardh Mahakumbh. And I presented my part of the story or my suggestion to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Chief Minister, Yogi ji, at that point of time. And everything in that almost was covered. Only one factor that was left was we wanted to have connecting trains, or rather say connecting metros, covering about 200 to 300 kilometers encircling Prayag. And that would also include a train from Jabalpur, Rewa into Prayag, and also include Ayodhya and Lucknow and all these points, which would be approximate 250 to 300 kilometer train distances. A. B. We wanted the communication, that is the surface communication, to get absolutely prim and proper, covering about 500 to 700 kilometers right from Nagpur, Jabalpur, Rewa and Prayag. That would be the approximate distance. This time we had all this done. And would you believe that who was the biggest beneficiary? I'm being a little cheesy. I think I'm being little cruel to myself. But I think Rewa was really the biggest beneficiary. I'll tell you how. The Vindhya. We were recipients of something like 4,000 crore worth rupees in these last 13 years, 14 years of Honorable Prime Minister's rule. He was extremely kind. I'm just giving you a notification. We had 3 airports coming up: Satna, Rewa and Panna, Khajuraho extension. So you know the cost of airport when we build airports. We had approximately 2,000 kilometers of road touching from Nagpur to Rewa, that is via Jabalpur. We had roads touching in from Uttarakhand to Rewa. We had roads touching in from Shivatuji, Jharkhand to Rewa, Ranchi to Rewa. We had roads touching in from Gwalior and Bhopal to Rewa. So we had something like 2,000 kilometers roads coming in, including the second largest tunnel of the country, that is between Singrauli and Rewa, which was recently inaugurated by Nitin Gadkari ji. After that, we had at least 3 Vande Bharats coming out. One from Khajuraho, one from Jabalpur, the other from Rewa. These were the additions that were given with Prayag in mind also, with the Kumbh in mind. So we were the recipients of the maximum profit. But we never thought about it, as very rightly said by Professor Bansal sir, that the footfall would be so tremendous. It was almost 200% above. 200% above what we had actually expected. The other day I was talking to my commissioner, Prayag, Mr. Pant, who we are all in the same committee for that Kumbh. And we were discussing this matter, and I'm bringing it in front of you, Billah Sahab, that we were horrified, we were stupefied that this amount of crowd would reach. Because there were many multifold things that we had to manage. That was one of them was drainage. And the most important factor was the drainage factor. So that was well managed, and that was also well managed with the Ardh Kumbh. So literally, I think the point of time where this whole body of evolution in the world of tourism was taking place in the country, in these 2 days, I was hunting for the epicenter, and the epicenter or the soul of that was MEP. Was your great stand and your great institution and your great effort and your great team's effort, which has shown us the soul of that huge body structure which we have been trying to discuss about. And I think that the theme that will flow, the Ganga that will flow out from this conference of 2 days, 3 days, will also be a roadmap in the coming another century for this country's tourism. In one line said by the minister yesterday, and I endorse it 100%, that from the monumental tourism, we are going into the era of experience tourism. And that is, I think, something which is to be understood by the teachers, to be further told to the students. First, you and I, we have to understand here, sitting on this side, And then we have to explain to the other side what is experience tourism. And in experience tourism, when we talk, it's an elaborate subject. Sometimes I think again it will be MIT. I'm sure about the fact that it's going to be MIT which is going to talk about this, and we will be here somewhere either listening or probably unknowingly what we are saying, we'll be speaking about it. But I tell you, India has the biggest scope. And one thing, one mantra I was contemplating last night when I was thinking about Gajendra Singh Ji's speech and the speech of everybody, that the biggest thing that has happened is 75 years past, we have been saying, oh, let's go to London, we'll see the Tower. Let's go to Leaning Tower of Pisa, we'll see this. Let's go to Rome, let's go to Paris, let's go to Japan, let's go to Australia, let's go to this, that, all the rest of it. Now the era is that let's see all this in India. We've got everything in India. Only thing what we lack, and that our Honorable Prime Minister has inserted inside our veins and DNA is a word called confidence. And I really from this dais thank the Honorable Prime Minister for doing this great work. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, we have the privilege of hearing from a visionary leader who has been instrumental in guiding us towards academic excellence. I now invite Professor Dr. Balvinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and Conference Chair to share a valuable address with us. Ma'am, you are an institution in yourself. May I speak a few more words? No.
Thank you. Everybody knows me. Very good evening to everybody. A very esteemed chief guest, Shri Dr. Sunil Birlaji, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. A very special guest of honor, Shri Pushpraj Singh Ji, Maharaja Revan, and Chairman of HHMCT, HHR Group of Hotels, and my colleagues on the dais, in the audience, and very important guests from across the country, and our partners, Professor Sinan Vijil, President ITSA, Dr. Omar, Executive Director of UN Tourism Academy, and all the other distinguished guests present, and my very dear future leaders of tourism and hospitality. I think this conference, which has been the joint initiative of Amity University and ITSA, has already set a very big benchmark by taking this initiative, by holding the joint conference. Since day before yesterday, when the pre-conference workshop started, you start feeling that, having those nostalgic feelings, that this conference is going to be different from all the conferences are organized, because it's for tourism, it's for hospitality. And India is known for hospitality and tourism from ages, from very ancient time. India used to be the education hub in ancient time, when the scholars from across the globe used to come, and they had to work very, very hard sometimes to get that admission in the Indian institutions. And there was somewhere the requirement that if you do not know the Sanskrit, you can't get the admission in those ancient universities like Nalanda, Takshila, and others. So India had its own history, which changed that face. But again, our honorable Prime Minister is having the vision to regain that glory and make that have the word is and the one family, the Vasudev Kundurkum, which was also the one earth, one family, and one future. And I think the deliberations which happened yesterday and today that have really set the tone for the future action, which cannot be done in 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year, and need to be the long term, sustainable, strategic partnerships. And I was so happy and delighted when Shri Pushpakraj Singh Ji, Maharaja Variva, was saying, let's sign the MOU. And especially India of, culinary. And he will bring the best of the chefs so that the student can learn. It is so important that how the knowledge can be shared with the future generations, how they can be developed. It's not only that, that what yesterday the Honorable Chief Guest have said, that tourism is contributing to the 10% of the GDP of the country. It can raise to a much higher level. It's only that how youth takes the interest in this sector. That means the awareness creation is also very important. How we create that tourism, aviation, and hospitality gives a great career. And that people are attracted because the number of people you need in this sector, trained people, are not there. So therefore the MIT University is also committed to developing the future talent at all levels. Right from the domestic tourism to the international tourism and the whole value chain, and that which truly not only takes care of the employability but also contribute to the economic development. We have signed the MOU with the Lumbini Buddhist University and with Professor Subarnalal Bhattacharya ji. And I'm really looking forward that this only one MOU we have signed, but and I'm sure this MOU will become the reality. The way the different departments will start working. And I'm inviting all our international guests. Let's discuss, deliberate how we collaborate, till the next conference comes, that we have done some meaningful outcome driven work and we keep this partnership growing year after year. And our Honorable Founder President has given the mantra Mission Connect, and then is the Mission Synergy, Mission Outcome. And I'm also very thankful to our Professor Upasana Geetanjali Singh ji from University of KwaZulu-Natal from South Africa. And we are really looking forward to working with you that how we can build a strong collaboration between the two universities. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you, and especially now the valedictory session. Thank you all. And Dr. Nani, I want to congratulate you that you have invited, Dr. Suman Pillaji, in whose blood is tourism like anything. He is the moving dictionary, encyclopedia of tourism, and I think you won't have got the better person than having Billaji here as a, for this as a keynote speaker for the valedictory session. Billaji is not coming today and addressing. I would like you to be the permanent member of the Amity University, especially in the area of tourism and hospitality, and guide us, advise us that how do we realize the vision of Honorable Prime Minister and what our Chief Justice Shekhawat ji say, that truly we contribute more than 10% from this sector to the economy of the nation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It has always been mesmerizing to have your graceful presence here. Thanks once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored. We are also honored to have amongst us a distinguished leader in the field of tourism. It's my privilege to welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Suman Billa, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, to deliver the valedictory keynote address. Dr. Billa is an IAS officer from the Kerala cadre and currently holds the position of Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. He previously served as Joint Secretary in the Ministry from 2014 to 2019 and has also worked with United Nations World Tourism Organization as Director of Technical Cooperation and Silk Road Development. Sir, I would like to invite you to deliver your keynote address. It will be an honor. Over to you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for those kind words of introduction. Professor Balwinder Shukla, Sri Pushpraj Singh, Professor Manohar Sajnani, Professor Sanjeev Bansal, Professor Pranshu Chample, Dr. Swati Sharma, Professor Sheena Wanzil, Dr. Omar Valdez, ladies and gentlemen. However engaging a seminar is, I fully appreciate the fact that the valedictory session tends to challenge people, the audience's patience. So let me try and keep it simple and straightforward. Today, I think we're discussing one of the most important challenges that we have on how to bridge the gap between the way that the practitioners see the sector and how the academicians see the sector. Unless both of them work towards the same common goal and they are able to reinforce and support each other, the outcomes are likely to be suboptimal. And especially for a country like India, where tourism holds tremendous amount of potential and where the challenge is for us to realize that potential in line with the vision that the Honorable Prime Minister has for the country and for the place that tourism has within the country. I think it's very vital and it's very important for the academia and the practitioners and the industry to work together in concert to deliver the results for the nation. So let me try and keep this short. I will just try and flag a few things that I think are important from a practitioner's point of view. And I would like to see if that can trigger some interest amongst the academicians, amongst the researchers, etc., to see if some of those problem statements are something that would, kickstart an interest within you. So let me start with the numbers. So several years ago, when I was a research scholar at JNU, the professor who taught us research methodology told us two things. The first is he said that what cannot be measured cannot be managed. So statistics are important. The second thing that he said was that statistics hide more than they reveal. So let me try and apply that to the numbers that we have in India, only the headline numbers. I'm not going to bore you with a long talk on statistics. So if you look at the numbers today, in 2023, India received 17 million international visitors. So that's the number that we have. And a lot of time people talk about there are countries like Dubai which do 18 million, and we are doing 17 million for a country of India's size and volume and potential, etc. But I think comparing things in absolute terms is not the right way to look at it. So the first thing we need to do is to dissect the international tourists between those who hold foreign passports and those who hold Indian passports. If you take out those who hold Indian passports, because ostensibly they're coming back to stay with their friends and relatives, and India has a very large diaspora population, the number drops to 9.2 million. Now, out of this 9.2 million, if you again look at those who are traveling for the purposes of tourism, which means that those of us within this room should be concerned with, which means that essentially look at people who are traveling for leisure and for business, that number drops to 6.93 million. So that is really the set that we need to be talking about, not the 17 million, which is an omnibus number. So when we research and we start talking about how to do this, the elasticity of this 6.93 million is the thing that we need to see as to how we make it grow and how, that needs to be further strengthened. India is on a strong growth trajectory. We've been the largest growing economy in the world for several years in a row, and there is nothing in the market to suggest that it's going to be otherwise in the next few years as well. So which means that even in business as usual scenario, your 6.93 million is going to jump to close to 11 million by 2029. So for us, growth is a given. The challenge is how do we frame that growth within a framework of sustainability and responsibility, which is one of the themes of the conference that we are discussing today. So let me take the second number set that are vital. That is the domestic tourist visits. Now, India has seen an enormous explosion in the consumer demography because on the back of a strongly growing economy, consumer preferences have changed. People are traveling like never more. And one vital number to look at is that today India has 2,520 million domestic visits. It's a very large number. That's 2.5 billion domestic visits that are happening in a country. These are not unique travelers, but these are visits that are happening in the country. But again, this number is going to grow. And if in a business as usual scenario, this number is going to go to over 4 billion by 2029. And again, this number is omnibus. And I think we need to see as to how to dissect that. So if we pass it through the twin filters of those who are staying in hotels, guest houses, and those who are going on for the purposes of holiday, leisure, shopping, or business, then that number drops to 470 million. And this 470 million by 2029 will jump to 932 million. So that is the kind of a robust demand that we are seeing. In India, the tourism market is exploding like never before. And all of you youngsters who are looking to make a career in it, there is no other place, better place on planet Earth than to be in India to realize the potential that tourism has to offer. So let's look at a third set of numbers, which is the outbound tourists. And people are constantly talking about India has become expensive and there are several people who are traveling outside. So today we have 27 million people who are traveling out, who are outbound travelers who go out. Now, if you just look at those who are traveling for the purpose of leisure and holidays, that number drops to 7.9 million. And the absolute number by 2029 is going to be 44 million. And those who will be traveling for leisure will be 15 million by then. So what is the challenge that is there in front of the country? Is that how do we create experiences within the country to retain those who are going abroad? Not to say that people should not go out and stay, But the most important thing is every dollar saved is a dollar earned. And which is why it is vital for us to also position our domestic offering at par with international to be able to retain the people who are traveling abroad within the country. And that can be a huge kicker for the Indian economy. So having said these numbers, let me come to what the problem statement is for us. What is it, the fundamental problem statement for India to us? I think the problem is this, is that our potential is not matching with our performance. India has a lot on offer. We have several products. We have too much diversity. We are a nation which is so large, as big as a continent. But if you look at the way that we are performing in terms of tourism, I think we are hugely underperforming. And for us, the challenge is how do we move this number? And why is tourism important? Tourism is important because it can create jobs. And it can create jobs at all levels, at the level of at the managerial level down to the lowest skill level. It can create jobs. And I think the big challenge that we have is how do we connect our communities with those who, with the tourism ecosystem, so that the sustenance and livelihoods of the community can come from tourism. So I think there are two things that we need to keep in mind, which is I think the challenge that we should have for ourselves, the target that we should have ourselves is today tourism supports 76 million jobs in India. I think we need to say how do we ensure that in the next 5 years we add 25 more million jobs from the tourism ecosystem in India. And the second thing that we need to say is how do we in the next 10 years, today tourism contributes 5.04% of the GDP of India. How do we bring it to the global benchmark of 10% GDP? And I think that is eminently doable if we are able to put our game plan together. Now, where is the difficulty coming from? I think the difficulty is coming from one problem that we have is saturation. Today, if you look at most of our destinations and most of our hill destinations, especially in summer months, they are oversaturated. There are too many people going there than they can host. So we have carrying capacity problems at our destinations. This is something that we need to address, which means that not only do we impose limitations in terms of how many people are able to go there, because if this room can hold 100 people and I put 500 people inside, the experience for every one of them inside the room is going to worsen. But more importantly, the experience for the host community is going to worsen too. So we need to bring that optimal balance. And I think to be able to do that, the ability of our existing destinations to add additional capacity is going to be limited. So today we have to start planning for building new destinations. For example, if Shimla is a well-established tourist destination and it is oversaturated, can we look at developing a tourism township maybe 25, 30, 40 kilometers away from Shimla, where we can bring the best principles of planning, sustainability, and bring in the community ownership to make it a very sustainable model. And I think looking at the growth that we have, it is very, very vital for us to start planning for new destinations. Today, Saudi Arabia is working on creating 7 new destinations across Saudi. And I think that is the position that we need to take. We need to be ambitious and we need to work to deliver the goods. The second issue that we have is that supply is trailing demand. And one of the things that I have done in the past few months is to see as to how this is shaping up. From all the numbers that I have stated, if we have to host these numbers in India, and if we do about take a average 60% as the average load factor on the hotels or the occupancy rate as they say, then today in branded hotel rooms we have 1,80,000 branded rooms in the country today. But even as of today, we should have had 3.9 rooms in addition to the 1.8 lakh to meet this demand. So there is a huge crunch, there's a huge mismatch between supply and demand that is happening in the country in terms of the accommodation units. Even in unbranded hotels, we have 15 lakh rooms that are there today, and we would require 27 lakhs. And when we go to 2029, that gap is going to be widening further. And which is why I think we need to start our investment, kickstart our investment processes to be able to have more rooms set up in India. And we also need to look at other alternate avenues like homestays and bed and breakfast, which can provide accommodation in the short run into the country. So I think these are a couple of things that we need to do. We need to change the capital structure, which means that we need to finance hotels within the infrastructure category, which entitles them to a lower rate of interest and a longer repayment period as against real estate, which is being done today. The second is that we need to make states take an entrepreneurial position. They need to recognize that tourism can be an engine of economic growth for them, and the states need to open up the ease of doing business for investors who are coming in to set up hospitality and tourism related investments in their state. And they need to also provide incentives and subsidies to bring them past the tipping point to invest in the states. The third thing that we need to do is truly recognize that India is a union of states. And whatever it is that we do from the government of India, it will not work unless the states are in sync with what we think and all of us working together. And I think the most important thing that we need to do is to bring the government of India, the state governments, and the industry to walk a common agenda so that we are able to optimize and maximize outcomes for our residents. So one example that I will tell you is about the campaign that we do. The government of India goes and does this Incredible India campaign all across the world. There are several states like Kerala which does God's own country, and there are several other states who do their own campaign. And then the industry goes and does their own campaign. Now, the missing piece is that it is not a coordinated effort. And how do we optimize a campaign? If Incredible India were to go and pick the interest of consumers in a certain market, it helps if the state governments, if Kerala were to go following that trail in that wake and then say that Kerala is God's own country because the interest for India is already there, and Kerala goes and then positions itself within that interest framework. And it helps if the hotels and tour operators go next and say that there is an interest in the market, this is what we offer, and they're able to convert. So this convergence or this coordinated approach will go a long way in strengthening our footprint in the marketplace, but also in maximizing the money that we have in that we spend for a campaign. So I think the most important thing is that we need to start working in concert. And today we are working in silos, and I think the time has come for us to think about One India and see as to how we can make that. The fourth thing that I want to also flag to you, and it's probably an important thing for most of the researchers here. There is a very vital missing link in tourism governance in the country. We have governance at the Government of India level. We have tourism governance which happens at the state level. There is no governance framework at the destination level, because largely the municipalities and the local bodies are indifferent to tourism, and therefore the destinations themselves are suffering from a lack of it. And this is a fairly straightforward thing. We need to have destination management organizations in every place. And who would these people be? You can have the mayor, you can have the political establishment, you should have the police and the municipality, etc. And you must also have people from the trade and industry, the hoteliers, the tour operators who have a stake. And these are the people who need to put on their thinking caps and think for that destination 365 days a year, thinking that if there is garbage, how do we clear it? How do we make the experience for the tourists better? How do we ensure that the local community is supported by the tourism activities that happen without inflicting upon any pain upon them? If the season is going to be low and off season, how do we create events, etc., so that we strengthen the demand in those shoulder months? And it is very straightforward, and I think we need to use technology a lot more today to be able to flatten the peaks that come from high demand and see as to how we are able to manage the destinations at their optimum. And I think there are only a couple of models that are there successfully in the country. Of course, the first is the Statue of Unity model, which is there, where they have given all the powers to a destination management organization for them to plan and think about how the destination develops. The second is the Kerala model, where they have done it more through the grassroots on how to empower the local community and weld them within the tourism ecosystem so that they become stakeholders within a very responsible framework of tourism. So between the two, I think India needs to figure out as to every state needs to figure out where they need to be, and we need to create these destination management organizations at each of the tourism destinations. The fifth idea that I want to leave with you is I think we need to become more of a problem solving orientation in tourism sector. And let me state the biggest problem that we have. India has amongst the most greatest attractions in the world today. You take the Taj Mahal, you take Qutub Minar, whatever it is. They will stand on their own amongst the best in the world. But the tourism experience is poor. Why is it that we have world-class attractions, but the tourist experience is not commensurate with the potential that that destination or that monument or whatever that experience holds? And I think this is something that we need to start thinking about on how do we thoughtfully, meaningfully create experiences around our destinations. So you need shaded areas, you need, clean washrooms, you need souvenir shops, you need fine dine restaurants where people could go and experience. You need to have events. These are all things that we have not thought about and that we have not done with a great deal of attention. So I think this is something that we need to get on to. The sixth idea is just to go back to the point which I had stated before, that for India, growth is a given. And where we are and the way that we are capitalized on tourism, I have no doubt in my mind that 5 years later, 10 years later, this is going to be a steady upward spiral. But the challenge for us is how do we harness this growth within a framework of responsibility, within a framework of sustainability, so that we are able to support the poor, we are able to create livelihoods, that we do not take away more from the environment than we give to it. How do we make tourism in a socially responsible framework so that there is a feeling of mutual respect between the tourist and the host community? And how do we build these economic linkages to strengthen the country? And I think this is a challenge that we have. And this is something that all of us, whatever it is that we do, we need to look at it through this lens. And lastly, and flowing from that idea, is I just want to provoke you with a thought. So several years ago, when Varghese Kurian used to be the chairperson of AMUL, he had asked a question rhetorically, and he said, "What is the impact on Indian agriculture if Krishi Bhavan, which is the Ministry of Agriculture, were to be bombed out of existence?" And it's a very fundamental question, and I think all of us need to start reimagining from first principles. What is the value that we are bringing to the sector? What is it that the Ministry of Tourism is bringing? What is it that the state governments are bringing? And what is it that the industry is bringing? And what happens if you do not exist tomorrow? Is there a niche that you have created? Is there a need that you serve that cannot be served by anybody else? And I think this value proposition is something that we need to look at. And if we are able to do that, we will be able to reimagine India and the tourism sector within where India needs to go, and we will have a great, great opportunity to address the potential that we have. So, lastly, let me thank the organizers for inviting me here. And as Professor Sajnani has said, this is the first of the many. And I also want to emphasize and echo the words of the Honorable Vice Chancellor and say that the ministry or the government cannot deliver on the promise of tourism unless we work closely with academicians, not just within the country, from all across. It's equally important that we work with the industry. So I think this is a partnership that we are starting today. This is the first step in a long march that we will be taking together. And I hope that all of this young talent that we have in this room today will become the pivots on which we realize the potential of tourism for this country. I thank you all, Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Now is the time for the felicitation ceremony, and for that, allow me to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, Shri Pushpraj Singh Ji, and Dr. Shinoy to felicitate our guest of honor, Dr. Suman Bila. Huge round of applause, everyone. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, sir. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Such a momentous frame. Now, may I request to felicitate Shri Pushpraj Singh Ji. Now, may I request Dr. Suman Billa, Shri Pushpraj Singh Ji, and Dr. Shinoy to felicitate our very dear Honorable Vice Chancellor, ma'am. Cheers, everyone. As conference chair of the conference. Thank you, ma'am, for your leadership. Now, may I request Dr. Suman Billa and Dr. Shinoy and our Vice Chancellor, ma'am, and Dr. and Maharaj of Roeva to felicitate our very own Dr. Manohar Sajnani, Dean FHT. Put your hands together, everyone. It's Sir's leadership and hard work. Now, may I request Dr. Suman Mila and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, ma'am, and Dr. Shinoy to felicitate our very own Head of Institute, Amity School of Hospitality, Dr. Pranshu Chokle, as the convener of the conference. Now, may I request the co-convener of the conference, Dr. Swati Sharma, to please come. The shout outs are themselves explaining. Now, may I request the organizing secretary, Dr. Rajneesh Shukla, to please come forward for the felicitation. May I request Dr. Alka Maheshwari as the organizing conference to please. Congratulations, ma'am. Now, may I request Dr. Narendra Kumar, the organizing secretary of the conference, to please come forward. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Now, may I request Dr. Manoj Kumar Sharma to please come down as the organizing secretary of the conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. May I request all the delegates to please take the seats. Thank you very, very much. Every journey has an end, but every end paves the way for a new beginning. To express our gratitude to all the dignitaries, participants, and organizing members, I now invite Dr. Swati Sharma. May I request all the students to please be seated, have little patience. May I request all the students to please be seated. Have little patience, everyone. Dr. Swati Sharma for vote of thanks. A very good evening to everyone present here. I understand, students, you are losing your patience. Give us a minute to conclude the ceremony here. With the esteemed presence of Sri Suman Billa ji, Sri Pushpra Singh ji, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone present here, all the presenters in the plenary sessions who have presented their papers, all the academicians who are present here from national and international universities. We have the esteemed presence of Mr. Dr. Umar Walde. We have Dr. Richard Bills with us. We have Dr. Fatima with us. We have Dr. Silvana with us, Professor Mariana Sigala, Professor Christopher. So we have all the esteemed presence here. We are really thankful to the management of Amity University, Honorable Founder President Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Chancellor Sir, additional Vice Chancellor Sir, Sanjeev Bansal Sir, and the man behind the show, Professor Dr. M. Sajinani Sir, because without his vision, this content would not have been possible. So he is the person who has made us work here. My special thanks goes to my all the faculty members, my students, all the volunteers who have. We are highly honored with your team. Thank you so very much.